Now. We are live.
Now?
Yes. Now.
We're live?
We're live.
I wasn't ready. You should have warned me.
I think I did.
I think I have too much headroom. How's that? Is
Better.
that maximum headroom?
That's much better. Max headroom. You bet.
So nobody else sees what I'm seeing, huh?
I don't.
Before pre-show, I've been talking about, I can't figure out how to turn off Do Not Disturb on my Mac anymore. Oh, that was good, Jill. Okay, Jason is taking over roll call because it looks like we haven't got Alan here.
Oh, he'll show up in 5 minutes right about when roll call is done.
Yeah, probably.
And then ask about roll call.
Probably.
He's asleep.
You know, I realized I didn't write anything up about observations about the Watch Series 7. I have a couple of observations.
Maybe another blog post later in the week.
Okay, Sandy sees the same thing, but the reference I read says that it's off even though it's still purple. But I want it on. I wonder what it looks like if... I mean, it's supposed to be on, so I don't know if it's on or off. I'll turn it on for 1 hour. Oh, well. All right. I think I should get going because I have a lot to read today. It's going to be a long show. Shall we get going? Oh, I got to do roll call. Jeez, almost forgot it.
Yeah.
It stopped being purple when I clicked again. You clicked the moon right on. Oh, so on the actual moon, maybe. That's it. You have to click on the moon.
Click the moon.
Oh my gosh. You do. That's it. You have to click on the moon.
Thank you, chat room. It's been bugging her.
Thank you, Michael. Michael's the one who figured it out.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
You guys.
God, Jason is so fast. Okay, let me bring in NosillaCast intro music.
Well, I think Al made it.
Al made it in?
I think.
All right. Well,
under a different pseudonym.
I don't see him.
I think Al is Zappery.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Well, it is time for a roll call. We got the call from Jason. We've got Kevin and Jason and Frank and Jill and John and Rose and Mike and Rick and Sandy and Steve and Michael and Al at the bottom there. Who else we got in the sidebar? We got anybody else? Wabbit Magic, maybe. We never know. I think that. And where's Rose? Oh, Rose is in the regular chat. I got her.
Yeah.
All right.
Wabbit Magic. Ooh.
Okay, are we all in order here?
Did we miss anyone? Oh,
did Lindsay just come in? Who saw Lindsay?
I'm not sure.
I don't see Lindsay.
I see her in the sidebar.
Oh, she is. Oh, maybe she is here. Ah, hi, Lindsay, the daughter.
She may be here.
Yeah, I think she's on her mobile device.
Normally, if she wouldn't be in Discord unless she were.
And on the left, there she is. Hi, Lindsay. We were discussing whether you're really here. How nice to see you, sweetie. All right. I think I'm going to mute you, Steve, and get started. Here we go. Sorry. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, October 17th, 2021, and this is show number 858. Well, tomorrow is yet another big announcement from Apple, and all fingers and toes at Casa Sheridan are crossed that it will finally be the unveiling of the higher-end MacBook Pros. I sure hope you'll join Steve and me at podfeet.com/chat during the Unleashed event on Monday so we can, text back and forth about whether our collective dreams are coming true. If you haven't joined us in the live chat before, it's absolutely great fun to be with the other NosillaCastaways in Discord for the event. In the afternoon, I'll be chit-chatting with Doc Rock about these announcements for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and I'll be on in a few minutes with Ken Ray for a quick discussion about the announcements too. So I'm going to get my fill of whatever it is, and it better fill my hopes and dreams. All right. Save. And give it a name. And see, yep, semicolon. Saves it by the right name. And I didn't pause quite in time there. Did I get that right? Yeah. Did I do that right? No, I didn't do that right. Escape right here. Minus. All right. Hopes and dreams. Okay, I need a chapter mark. Where do I want this chapter mark? Here. beep. Copy link. I hope this makes sense. I wrote this in the car in kind of a hurry, but I want to plug something for somebody else. What am I playing? No, Kevin just got a brand new MacBook Air. So the question Kevin should be answering is whether I should buy Steve a new MacBook Pro or a new 27-inch iMac. What do I do if they come out with both? Or Jill. There's always Jill. All right. Before we dig into the show, I want to tell you about the latest episode of Know a Little More by Tom Merritt. In this episode, he explains RCS, or Rich Communication Services. The reason you care about RCS is that it's the replacement technology coming for your mobile carrier's messaging system. It's going to replace SMS. Now, Tom explains the problem would be solved really well and the background on SMS, and then how RCS may solve these problems. Now, Apple hasn't announced support for RCS, but other companies have, and when Apple does, this might be able to give us some help with the green bubble, blue bubble problem. Tom describes in detail why the green bubble, blue bubble problem happens and how message threads get splintered, and it was a bunch of stuff I didn't know before. Now, RCS is lacking some features you do get with messaging apps like Telegram, Signal, and WhatsApp, but it's good that there's some hope for the future. I really enjoyed this episode, and like I said, it clarified a lot of things for me about RCS versus SMS and where we are in the progress towards a standard. You can find Know a Little More in your podcatcher of choice at knowalittlemore.com. Tom did not pay me to say that. Chapter mark for Chit Chat.
Oh.
Whoop. What?
Whoop.
Whoop. You got a problem? Check
Nope,
under your seats.
I like to bring up the full screen when you're pasting things in so I can keep an eye on it.
Oh, okay.
Almost didn't catch it.
Chit Chat. Here we go. All right. In this week's episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond, we've got another Programming by Stealth, and Bart is going to launch full steam into Phase 2 that we talked about last week. Bart introduces us to the Node Package Manager and Node itself. Unlike our mini-series within a series for Git and Chez Moi, Bart is not going to do an exhaustive walk through everything about NPM and Node. Instead, he's going to teach us how to use what we need as we go along. In order for that to make any sense at all, in this particular installment, he explains to us at a high level what Node and NPM are and what problems they solve. This lesson isn't all theory, though. We actually get to use Node and NPM to build a tiny self-contained JavaScript app. I had great fun in this installment, and Bart's always fabulous tutorial show notes are particularly well written this time. You can find those over at pbs.bartarfister.net, and you can subscribe to Programming by Stealth in your podcatcher of choice. I wish we had a Node that what? Alan, is there security bits tonight? Yes, and you asked me that in Slack, and I answered you in Slack. Do you ever see my answers? Because a lot of times you ask me stuff, and then I answer, and then I don't know when... I don't think you read my answers. But the answer is yes. It is Security Bits Week. But he forgets. Oh, I forget everything, man. What was it? Somebody told me something. I was like, really? I did that last week, huh? Go figure. Oh, here's the big exciting thing. Okay, muting Steve. I've been working on a major update to my time shifter clock for quite a long time, and it is finally released and is now available at timeshifterclock.com. I even bought it its own domain name. Now, if you're not familiar with my web app for shifting time, let me tell you the problem it solves. Let's say you need to meet with several people across different geographic regions, and you need to convey to them the time that you've chosen for the meeting. While it's trivially easy to find out what time it is currently in multiple cities, it's much more difficult to find out what time it will be in multiple cities at a time in the future. That's where Time Shifter Clock comes in. With this web app, you can search for multiple cities and then shift a slider forward in time as far as a week in half-hour increments. The time will update in each city to reflect that shifted time. When you see the time you like in your own region, you click a copy button to capture the times in each city that you've chosen. Now, the cool part is you can paste that URL into a message to the people with whom you hope to meet. When they open the URL, they will see the exact same times in the different cities that you chose. Now, let's say they don't like that time and they want to propose a different time. They can simply shift the slider to their preferred time, copy the URL, and send it back to you as a counter proposal. Now, if you're not a developer, that's pretty much all you need to know. It's free and easy to use, and I think it solves a real problem. If you find it useful, on iOS, you can even add it to your home screen so it acts like a native app. The main advancement in version 2.0 of Timeshifter Clock is that you can add as many cities as you want. I have literally not set a limit. The second enhancement is that the URL you'll be copying is far less messy looking than it was in version 1. It was pretty long with just 2 cities in version 1, and it would have gotten pretty crazy with any more. Now you'll see the names in the URL of each city you've chosen, but the time conversion all happens through universal, UTC. What does UTC stand for? I should know that. But anyway, it all happens through UTC, and that simplifies the URL quite a bit. Now, I had a lot of people poke at this version to test it before release, and Helma from the Netherlands figured out that the original version didn't actually account for time zones that were off by a half or quarter hour. This has also been corrected in version 2.0. Now, there's one constraint of the design that is important to note. This tool uses the standard moment database for time zones and time zone names. If you don't find the city you want to use, that means it's simply not in that standard database, and I can't fix that. I know it's a bit frustrating to have to figure out the closest city or time zone name, but there's nothing to be done about that. The worst example I found is that since all of India is in one time zone, and by the way, on the half hour, the only city in the database for India is Kolkata, also known as Calcutta to some people. It doesn't have the capital, New Delhi, or even the huge city of Mumbai, only Kolkata. If you can't find the city you want, the easiest thing to do is just search for the time zone name. Now, I do have a call for help. There's one opportunity for significant enhancement that I've not been able to accomplish, and for that, I am putting out this call for help. I spent more than a month trying to figure out how to do error checking for the entry of the city names. If you're a developer, perhaps you can help me fix this. As of right now, if you type in gibberish for the city name, the web app just sits there and doesn't do anything at all. Likewise, you can type in a perfectly valid city name that is in the database, such as America/Detroit. But if you don't select the identical name from the dropdown, you actually won't be looking at the time in Detroit. It will still be in the time in the default city. I think it should show some sort of alert telling the user, hey, you got to select from the pull down, or maybe somehow automatically select it if you did type in something that makes sense. Timeshifter Clock is released as an open source project on GitHub, and I've put a link in the show notes, so I hope the super nerds will jump in and create that error checking that should be in the tool and I can't figure out how to do. I got to tell you, it's not for lack of trying on my part, but I just can't figure out how to do it. It's the drop-down menu library I'm using that causes the problems. Anyway, I built version 1.0 as part of a challenge in Bart Bouchat's and my Programming by Stealth podcast, and I chose the first 2 default cities to be Los Angeles and Dublin, because I live in LA, Bart lives in Dublin. It's my app, so I scratched my own itch with it. Version 2.0 is the result of a feature request by Dr. Marianne Gary, who is constantly meeting with people all over the globe at the same time. She lives in New Zealand, so as an homage to her, all additional cities added will have their default city set to Auckland, New Zealand. I'm very proud of my 3rd web app, and I hope you find it as useful as Marianne and I do.
All right. By the way, Lindsay commented that she uses it all the time for her meetings.
Does she? Oh, good.
In Europe and Asia.
Oh, good. So, Lindsay, look for timeshifterclock.com for the new one. Did you put that link? Actually, in your browser, you can type timeshifter.com. And the weird thing is, it's if you want a URL, you have to do HTTP. This is a very weird thing I didn't know about until JF notified me about it, is when you buy a domain and then forward to where the code really is, and all you own is the domain name, you can't have it be HTTPS. It is going to go to a secure site, but it's HTTP by itself. So if you just type in timeshifterclock.com, you're fine. Chris Perillo and the call for help. Wow, that's a throwback to the old days.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
Oh, one of your favorite subjects.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a long one.
Buckle in.
Okay. Make me full screen. Am I full screen?
Hold it. I will do it.
Oh, I got to do it quickly.
Oh, your screen?
Is that quick enough? I had to wait for.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you.
No, you said you wanted to see full screen when I did it.
Yeah, I got you. I think I got it in time. I saw links.
Why is Fluid Simulator popping up? That was weird. Oh, yeah, I remember him. Okay, so now open the right one. Okay, now you need to go away. And you need how to add a lapse time. So, Mike, I was able to, in the car on my way down to see our son, I was able to sneak in the stuff you wrote about adding time in numbers. So I've got it as a this just in at the end of it. That was good. It was good. And it is exactly what you say. You have to format it first, and then it works. Rush is here.
Update from the car. Hello, Rush.
Yeah. All right, here goes. For literally decades, I've been trying to figure out a way to add elapsed time in Excel. And this week, with the help of my friend Mike, we figured out how to do it. I feel like I have made fire. This problem with Excel and all spreadsheet applications is that by default, they treat entered time as absolute time, not elapsed time. If I type in 10:00, Excel thinks I mean 10 a.m., not 10 hours and 0 minutes. An example to prove that Excel doesn't understand is if you ask Excel to add 10:00 plus 15:00, if it's elapsed time, you should get 26:00. But instead, you get 1:00 because it's gone around another day and now it thinks it's 1 a.m. Now, I've just started working on a new web app to add time, so I'm not going to have to fight this problem anymore. But coincidentally, a listener to the Mac Geek Gab asked the question of how to add time in Excel since it thinks it's a date, and this person wanted it to be elapsed time. I figured it out, but it's a fun story. When you enter time into Excel, the default format is general. This is kind of a magical format where Excel just does its darndest to figure out what you mean. Under the hood, it calculates a decimal value that represents the percentage of a 24-hour day. For example, 24:00:00 would be represented simply as 1. 12:00:00 would be represented as 0.5 because it's a half a day. 48:00:00 would be represented as 2 because it's 2 days, 48 hours. This decimal value will become very interesting to our story, and I have to give my personal friend Mike 100% credit for figuring out what these decimal values mean. Now, there's going to be another Mike in the story later. This is Mike that I know in real life. In a very odd twist of logic, changing the format of the entered time from general to square bracket H:/MM:SS, which you'll find under custom in the formatting, tells Excel that you want to treat this entered value as elapsed, not absolute time. Now, those square brackets around the H are very important. Without the square brackets, you would be explicitly telling Excel that you want it to be absolute time. So now, with this new format, square bracket H:/MM:SS, you can add 10:00:00 to 15:00:00, and you will get 25 instead of 1 a.m. So, time values look absolute, but they're not. What do I mean? Time values look absolute. Okay. I don't like the way I wrote that. While this does work, these time values that you're using look like they're absolute, but they're not. This is all dandy. You may find yourself... I don't think that belongs there. Now, this is all dandy, but you might find yourself in a confusing situation if you try to edit these cell values. Even with 15:00:00 formatted with absolute time, if you click in that cell, the formula bar will show the value as 3 p.m. If you have Edit and Cell enabled, you'll also see this absolute time of 3 p.m. in the cell when you double-click it. Now, perhaps you can live with it this way, but it's very weird to me that if I want to change 15:00 to 15:00:01, but the number I see is 3 p.m., I mean, it's weird. I can do it, and it works, but it's weird. Now, if you suspect that it will lead to confusion for you like it does to me, there's a little trick Mike and I worked out that might help. When you type in your times, put a single quote before them. In the cell, the single quote won't show, but if you go to edit, you'll see the elapsed time with that single quote before it. It's a little bit strange, but not as jarring as if it shows the absolute time with that AM and PM nonsense. Now, you'd think the story ends right here, but what if you want to subtract elapsed time? If you subtract a smaller elapsed time from a larger elapsed time, you will not run into a lick of trouble. It works just fine in Excel. But if your calculation ends up with a negative time value, Excel will barf and simply show you an infinitely long set of hash symbols in the resultant cell. Now, you might think I don't realize that the set of hash symbols is how spreadsheets let you know that the result of your calculation is just, it has too many digits to fit the width of its column. Now, I do know about that, but that's not what's happening here. No matter how wide you stretch this column, you just get more and more and more hash symbols. Now, I'm going to give you the answer of how to fix this, and it's trivially simple, but first I'm going to make you suffer along with everything else I tried to do first. Here's where things get interesting. Remember I said that all of these times are really decimal numbers under the hood? If you select this negative time value that's just spitting out hash symbols, and you change the format to a decimal number, the true negative value will be revealed. As a simple example, if you enter 100:00 minus 2, the decimal answer will be negative 1/24 or negative 0.04. Now, what good does it do you to have a time value that's a decimal? We can actually use that decimal to build the time back up piece by piece. Let's say we want to subtract some complex times like 10:04:32 minus 16:32:48. We'll get a decimal value of negative 0.27. If you take that negative 2.27 and multiply by 24 hours, you get negative 6.47 hours. That tells us that the value for our time is actually negative 6 hours with some leftovers. If we take the 6 away, we can multiply negative 0.47 times 60 minutes, we get negative 28.27. So now that tells us we've got 28 minutes. So we've got negative 6 hours and 28 minutes. Do it one more time, remove the 28, take that 0.27 times 60 seconds, and we get roughly 16 seconds. Our final answer is negative 6:28:16. Yay, that was easy, right? Especially in an audio podcast. I bet that worked really well. Anyway, here's a fun thing about those calculations. You heard me say roughly 16 seconds. Why is it roughly 16 seconds? It should have been exact. I did the calculation in Excel, and it came out negative 15.999999, and you know where I'm going with that. It took me a little while to figure out why, but a quick refresher listen to Tom Merritt explaining teraflops on his show Know a Little More found the answer. In this episode, he does a high-level explanation of how floating point math is just an approximation. Once I came to peace with the idea of rounding the answer, I spent about a half day trying to figure out, now, how do I display the answer into a cell? Remember, I can't just put it back as a negative time value because it's just going to turn back to hashes. Well, I used the concatenate function to put the numbers back together with colons between them. While this technically did work, for numbers less than 2 digits, it looked dumb. It said negative 1:1:50. I wanted it to say 10150. So I started bothering Alistair Jenks about how to format it as negative 1:01:50, and he gave me some fun methods, including concatenating an extra 0 on the front. But what if it already had 2 digits, so we'd have to take the left 2 values? But what about that pesky negative sign? Well, we could take the absolute value first and then multiply by negative 1, but what if it's supposed to be positive? And then I stopped, and I did a Google search on how to display negative time values in Excel. Get this. The way you can take 1 hour minus 2 hours and have it display the value is you have to open Excel preferences, and in the calculation section, set it to use the 1904 date system. Boom, the hashes are gone for time formatted cells that are negative. Okay, a normal person wouldn't still be working on this, but anyone who's gone this far has to take it to the end. I cannot explain why setting the spreadsheet to the 1904 date system fixes the negative time values, but I did read up on what the heck this is even about. I found a Microsoft support document that explains early on, Excel for Windows used the 1900 date system, which means the earliest supported date is January 1st, 1900. But the design of the early Macintosh computer only allowed dates after January 1st, 1904, which is obviously logical since the year 1900 wasn't even a leap year. I mean, duh, right? Why would Apple have supported that? Well, at some point, Mac started supporting the 1900 date system, bending to the will of Microsoft, I suppose. The consequence of these two different date systems is that every date has a serial number that is the elapsed number of days from the beginning of that date system. Now, I really wish I knew why that difference made negative time values invalid in 1904, but not in 1900. So if anybody knows the answer to that, I would really like to know. Now, I figure at least 8% of you are wondering, how does numbers handle time math? It's got to be easier, right? Well, formatting as elapsed time is definitely easier because numbers has a format called duration. That's easier to remember and use than square bracket H:MM:SS, but it's almost as dumb. If you look at the formula bar, numbers represents 13:00:00 shows it as 1 a.m. Oh my gosh. Okay, now here's the crazy part. Numbers has zero problems calculating the subtraction of two times that result in a negative value. But guess what it can't do? It can't add two times. I'm serious. The result is a red triangle exclamation point that says the formula's arguments can only include one date value. Wait, I can't add two date values, but I can subtract them? Well, by the time I got this far, I was pretty exhausted from my Excel adventures, so I did a search for how to add two time values in numbers. It appears that numbers isn't really sure what you mean if you use the format 02:12:40. Heck, that could be a date or a time, who knows? But what if you write it out in a human-friendly way? Then numbers knows just what to do. So instead of writing 02:12:40, you write 2H12M40S, 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds. It works perfectly, and it has two glorious side effects. First, you can actually add and subtract time with utter abandon. And the second glorious effect is that in the formula bar, it shows exactly the time you wrote, and it is not a date. Now, there's one last bit to the story. After I originally wrote this up, Mike Price, also known as Grumpy in the Podfeet Slack, provided new information on how to use numbers to add and subtract time. He discovered that if you format the cells as duration before you type the time, you are allowed to enter the time as hours, minutes, and seconds as H:MM:SS, and it will honor the duration format. If you type it in first and change it to duration, it doesn't work. But if you change it to duration before you type it in, it does work. Now, I hadn't noticed this other thing, but Mike also pointed out that duration formatting has options. So you can choose the H:MM:SS version or the HMS format, where you type in, 2H12M40S. While he was experimenting, Mike also discovered something else cool. I'm going to quote him exactly how he told it to us in Slack. Quote, I was also impressed that if some pesky data entry person, you know the type, enters a silly duration value like 5:72:105, numbers knows that you really meant 6:13:45. Now that is really, really nifty. So I think the bottom line to the question of how do you add time in Excel should be, you don't. Use numbers instead and write in any format you want and it'll work. I'm going to write a web app, like I said, to add and subtract time, and now I have a much easier way of proving whether my math is correct in the web app. I will be using numbers to check my math.
Good one.
Think anybody would listen to that whole thing? That got a little weird in the middle.
I think people who like numbers, Excel, or time.
Okay, Steve, do you want to show my screen when I'm doing this now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it here. All right. Ta-da! Mike Price to the rescue.
It worked.
And a save. So, but, this could be long. 19 hours. God, I thought I needed to trim things back, but everything... Yeah, no, I've only got one little more bit. So now, Charles Goucher is back from his trip. I'm pretty sure he introduces himself. Okay. Numbers to check my math.
Hi folks, this is Charles Goucher from the Silicon Valley Mac User Group. When I was last here,
Is that gap too long, Steve? Listen again. Using numbers to check my math.
hi folks, this is Charles Goucher from the
I think it's okay. It's a little long, but it's not,
I could
absurdly so.
move it just a smidge.
That looks too much.
Numbers to check my math.
Hi folks, this is
Oh, that's
Charles
good.
Goucher from
Yeah, I think
That's
it
good.
is. All right. But you don't get to hear Charles. Well, I guess
Oh,
you could hear
you
the beginning of
tease.
Charles. Well, all right, fine. Why doesn't that always work? Wee. There it is. All right. Oh, I was right there. Hi.
What?
I did not
Whoa.
say to do that.
Man, we're starting over.
How do I get to this? Jill, how do I jump to a chapter mark? I thought I
What if
could
you double
click
click on
it.
that?
No, that doesn't do
Doesn't work.
anything. Click on it. There.
Oh,
okay,
you
I
have
had
to
click
go
away,
away
got
and
stuck.
come back.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't work. There we go. Yeah, you have to click on a different one. That's what it. Whee! What is Jason talking about? All right, here we go.
Hi folks, this is Charles Goucher from the Silicon Valley Mac User Group. When I was last here for NosillaCast number 592, I was preparing to head off to Alaska with Princess Cruises for an ocean cruise. It's a great vacation, hopping between the Alaskan islands with some of the best American glaciers you can see. But internet connections on a cruise ship have traditionally been notoriously slow. Even at the best of times, they offered dial-up speeds, and they charged by the minute for it. Allison tried a similar cruise in 2012 and had some choice words for them. However, in the last 3 years, Princess Cruises has upgraded all of their ships with a new medallion net, and they now promise the best Wi-Fi at sea. So it feels like a great time to give this a test. And here I am, back from Alaska, having tested it out. And the experience is mixed. First off, some background. Cruise ships spend most of their time far away from any cellular phone service, so they have to rely on satellites for their internet connection. That has meant connecting to satellites in geostationary orbit, 22,000 miles up, 36,000 kilometers for you non-Americans. That's a long distance. That's 240 milliseconds of travel time for any internet signals. Bandwidth can be reasonably fast for downstream data, like DirecTV, but absolutely horrible for upstream. In 2014, I was still seeing connection speeds of maybe 50K per second. Enter the Princess Medallion Net. Or, more importantly, SES Systems. This satellite company from Luxembourg has been flying television satellites for decades, and starting in 2012, they built a new system specifically for data use in remote regions. Their O3b satellites, short for the other 3 billion people, fly in medium Earth orbit, 5,000 miles up.
I love that. The other 3 billion people.
Yeah.
Hi folks, this is
Well, I guess I missed where it was. I guess we're done listening.
Okay.
Sorry
Plain
about
milk is fine.
Plain milk's fine. There we go. All right. Oh, I didn't write up anything about how wonderful that was, but that was wonderful.
a third report. I'll see you all in December.
All right, Charles, I sure hope that you do another report for us, because this is really interesting. I'm not sure that'll make me want to go on cruises, but it was miserable being disconnected from my lovely internet. You know, I remember saying that I realized when I was away from the internet that I didn't just like the internet. I love the internet. I have to have the internet. It was really upsetting to me to be away from it. So it's pretty fun to find out that maybe things are going to get a little bit easier on that front. I was thinking at one time we might take a river cruise down the Rhine, and I think that's Germany. And the best part would be that there'd be internet because we'd be near the cities and stuff. So maybe I'm not meant for the cruise life. Thank you so much for bringing that. That was fantastic, Charles. I hope to hear from you again. right, I think I started that too quickly from when he finished talking.
Sounds like I'm going to need to file a third report. I'll see you all in December.
All right, Charles.
That
That's
works.
not too close. Okay. Oh, you thought it was good?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning, and before I forget, lower the intro music because everybody said that was too loud.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
it's
a
normally
little hot.
about 13. Okay. All right. Spam time here. As you know, this show is not financed by advertisers. It's supported by listeners like you who contribute through Patreon and PayPal. Now, I always make a point of telling you about the new patrons, but what I haven't been great about is recognizing the patrons who've been supporting the show for a long time. I'm going to start rectifying that, calling out our heroes, maybe 10 at a time. This week, I'd like to thank Mark Poley, Brett Kennedy, Richard Nelson, Mike I should have... come on. How do you... DeStefano. This week, I'd like to recognize Mark Poley, Brett Kennedy, Richard Nelson, Mike DeStefano Jr., Mac Lurker, Kevin Alder, Bob Lay, Roger Nash, Christopher Ryan, and Tom Stewart as the 10 longest contributing people on Patreon. All of these fine folks and more have been contributing for over 5 years straight. Thank you for your continued support of the Podfeet podcast. Now, if you'd like to join this group of fine folks, please head on over to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledge your support. Frank leaving us? Oh, talk to you tomorrow. Hope you'll be in the chat room tomorrow. Who's Mark Poley?
Wow, you're
right,
you're going
Gonna
pretty
end
fast
early?
through this. Amazing. You have a lot of posts. I guess security
Yeah, a
bits is
couple of them
rather
are
long. Yeah,
oh,
it's
shoot.
gonna be.
Shoot, I wasn't supposed to read that right now.
Well, you could still put
Dang
in the time adder, right? You could
Yeah,
just
but
insert it.
I classically always do it right before security bits.
No, can't you
just
just
when
go
I
back
do
and edit your timeline? Just insert.
Could, will I remember?
No, now. Can you do it now? Just cut out that piece you just did and put it down below.
Where do I put it in the meantime?
Put it just in another time below, and then just pop it back up when you're
But
done
I've got
with this.
it.
Doesn't matter where it goes for now. Just stick it in a place, right? That's temporary.
Yeah, but it'll play. If I have to,
Not
I have
if
to
it's in
put
the
it on a
past.
muted. I have to put it on a muted track.
Can't you put
So
it
I got to
before?
put it down here. What do you mean put? Yeah, record after and then swap them.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like it though.
I'll remind you.
It's terrifying. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need everybody help me remember to do that.
We'll do it. We got your back, Podfeet.
Yeah, what are the chances? And I bet I won't be able to move the chapter mark. DeStefano. I don't know. That was interesting. Of those 10 people, Alan, I only, let's see, who do I know? Wait, where'd it go?
4. No.
I think I've heard from Richard Nelson before. Never heard from Michael DeStefano. Bob Lay, I think I've talked to once. Talk to Roger all the time. Roger Nash, Christopher Ryan, and Tom Stewart. Never talked to them that I know of. So these people have been contributing for 5 years and never conversed. It's interesting. Okay. All right. I am going to do, this is going to be really quick. The time matter thing. This is just asking for help. Okay. Okay. Muting Steve.
We lost your audio, Al. You're muted somehow. Not sure. Okay, you hear it. Got it. She will be back. Yeah, she knows. She's working at Kevin, but thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's weird.
What did it?
Just audio hijack. Just stopped hijacking.
Did you just quit and restart it?
No, I just stopped it and started again. That is very
Okay.
rare.
All right.
And then it just popped up in front when I'm not telling it to you. You can still hear me, right? Okay. All right. You've heard me drone on and on and on about how to add time using Excel. And as I mentioned, that struggle over the years has been what's inspired me to write a web app to add and subtract time. Seems like a fun project, and it seems like it's within my grasp of skills so far in programming. I've already started working on it, and at the rate I'm going, that I seem to be able to carve out time and my skills at doing it, should be ready in a year or two. Well, anyway, I have a vision of what this app layout would look like, but I thought it would be fun if we crowdsourced this a little bit. You don't have to approach this as a programmer. In fact, I'd prefer it if you thought about this from a regular human perspective. If you had an app that would allow you to add or subtract time a bunch of times together and get an answer, in an ideal world, what would that look like? How would you lay that out to be efficient and easy to use without having to read a bunch of instructions? So here's some things to consider before you answer my question. Should there be separate fields for the hours, minutes, and seconds? Or should maybe the user have to write the entire time in that 0:00:00.0 format? Now, how many hours maximum should I allow? Should I allow decimal seconds? How many digits should I allow? Should there be buttons for add and subtract? Should those add subtract buttons be on the left or the right, or maybe even in their own row between the time entry fields? Should the total update when you're done entering the last number, or should it update only when you hit an add or subtract button, or maybe an equals button? Would it be distracting if it's auto-updating the total, or would that be awesome? Should the total be at the top or the bottom? If it's at the bottom, I'd have to make sure it doesn't roll off screen. Now also, make sure you think about mobile in the layout, how to use the small space efficiently, but without making the UI hard to understand. Would you choose a different layout if it's on mobile versus a bigger screen? What haven't I thought about things that you should take into consideration? So now here's the fun part. I don't want you to answer me in words. I want you to draw me a picture. You can use your fancy pants Apple Pencil and your iPad and Apple Notes, or you could use OmniGraffle on the Mac to draw pretty buttons and fields. Heck, you could use engineering quadrille paper with a straight edge and a mechanical pencil. You could even use crayons, scissors, and construction paper. I don't care how you do it. I just want it to be visual. I want it to convey your vision of the perfect layout for a time adder app. Oh yeah, and how about the name? Time adder does say most of what it does, but I've never been good at naming things, so suggestions on the name are also welcome. Now, I posted this question in our Slack at podfeed.com/Slack, and Alistair Jenks and Nuclear John have both sent in some really great drawings that are making me really think about the layout. If you want to answer over in there, that would be great. If you don't want to answer there, just send me an email at allison@podfeed.com, or you can tweet it at me at podfeed if you want. Any way you want to show me your vision would be awesome. Remember, pictures only, and what names do you think I should use? Thanks in advance for your ideas.
Okay,
All
we
right.
have some work to do.
Yeah. Okay. So what I need to do, and it's unchapterized, and it's two pieces. As you know, so it's this one and this one.
Have to swap?
Yeah. I could
Can't you just pop the one
Command
below?
X that. Ooh, that worked. Hang on. Oh, but the chapter mark didn't move. And then I got to go to the end. Where'd it go? And I go here, maybe. Now that. Now where'd my chapter mark go?
Can't you just delete and re-add?
I don't know where the chapter mark went.
Well, you're not at the beginning of a segment, right?
Where'd chit chat go? No, wait. Oh, maybe it did go there. Hang on. Bunch of instructions. So here's some things. No. Okay, there it is.
So just don't you want to just delete these and re-add them? Oh,
No.
Okay. I guess you can move them around. Okay.
Why would I delete it?
I didn't know
Okay,
you could move
maybe
them.
I do. Let me go command minus a little bit. That might just be it right there. Let's see. Cruise life. Thank you so much for bringing that. That was fantastic, Charles. I hope to hear from you again. You've heard me drone on and on and on about. Okay, that might have worked.
That worked.
Now, And now does this seems to work here. Thanks in advance for your ideas. Too long. All right. Your ideas. As you know, this show is not financed by
That's a little
time.
short.
Really?
Yeah.
Your ideas. As you know, this Okay, that's all you get. Your ideas. As you know, this show is now you laughed over it, so you don't get
No,
to
that's
listen to
good.
it. Now, let me
That's good.
catch this break. Maybe 10 at a time. This week I
Mm.
like that. That's all one sentence. Don't judge
Yep.
this. You don't know what you're listening to.
No, I heard that.
Heroes, maybe 10 at a time. Buying that. Calling out our heroes, maybe 10 at a time. This week I'd like to Yeah, it wasn't a sniff. It was a that
Yeah.
got cut off when I
Yeah.
chopped it. Okay. Yep. Pledge your support. Okay. Now, chapter mark 4. Security bits that Alan is so excited about. I'm counting on Frank to be the one that sends in the construction paper. Ooh. Technology. That's a typo. It is. You know, I don't understand. I do not understand Apple. I want you to look at something here. So this is where I have written IT''S, which is correct. It's lacking features. It is lacking features. Apple is telling me to consider using its instead. I have over and over and over had trouble with iOS where I type ITS and it changes it to IT''S incorrectly. So it's doing both. It's doing them backwards.
Yeah, it could. There are two ways that sentence could be interpreted. One is the possessive form of it. Its lacking features are this. It has some lacking features and they are this, or it is lacking features. So it could. I don't know why it would override one over the other. It seems to like the.
But it's not offering me the possessive. It says it's in single quotes.
Yeah,
it's not offering. It's not saying it's apostrophe. It's just saying just use ITS.
Yeah.
If it was possessive, it should be ITS apostrophe, wouldn't it be, Sandy?
Now, if you read the rest of the sentence, the possessive thing doesn't make sense with you get with.
It would be just its. It wouldn't have to have an apostrophe. Sandy says no apostrophe.
Well, apostrophe. What? If it is, it is.
Listen. What I'm saying is, I thought it would be, if it was possessive, it would be ITS apostrophe.
No,
she says
it's already
it would be ITS.
It's already possessive without the apostrophe. Doesn't need the apostrophe.
I don't understand
already
that at all.
Possessive. The word is already a possessive word without the apostrophe.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, like Sandy says, it's like
I don't.
hers.
Not, just because you say yeah doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you. If Sandy says it, I'll believe you.
There you go.
Oh, Lindsay says it's a possessive. If possessive, no apostrophe. Ugh. This is a woman who's got a kid. When she has to say possessive for his name, his name is Forbes, and she has to say Forbes is right.
I think Sandy put it best. It's just like hers. Hers has an S. It's already possessive, but there's no apostrophe. Its is the same way, the possessive form of its. Right?
I'm sure Sandy's right, but while trying to do the show, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
Okay. I need to move a couple of things. Let's see. It's this one. 589, yeah. Secretary, yep. First name, and move you over to there. And that should be deleted, and I should be here. Okay. Now I'm ready to drag in security bits. I've got a chapter mark. You will talk math all day, but not grammar. All right. Sandy is my grammar queen. I defer all answers to her. go. All right. Misplaced apostrophe.
Oh, can we hear Bart's little intro?
Oh, sure.
Oh, couldn't hear it.
No, because that track was muted because I thought I was going to use it. Here we go.
Blink,
There we go. Good.
blink, blink,
Does Bart know that you do this?
blink,
Actually, I think if I go like this and I hit play.
blink.
Oh, I thought it would repeat it. Okay. Let's see. I need to slide this over to there. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. And then do
Good one,
this.
Jason.
I think he does. What's good one? Oh,
Misplaced apostrophe with a 1 and the exclamation.
Oh, that's good. I like it. So what does everybody think about the fact that there's a decimal point at the end of what is it? The streaming event? What is it? I forget. Everybody's upset that it's a decimal or it's a period at the end.
Like it's the final word. Some are surmising it means it's the final event of 2021 for Apple.
That's me. I'm the one who said that, Steve.
Oh, you did? Okay.
To you.
No, I heard that somewhere else. I thought I heard it on MacBreak. Maybe you said it.
We were listening back break. I stopped it and I said that was my interpretation.
As well?
Oh God, misplaced apostrophe is moving now. Stop it. How do I can't.
Where's
That's
it moving?
horrible. It's the misplaced apostrophe was blinking. Gonna have a seizure here. All right, let's see how this listens.
Wait, the security bits marker looks like it's in the wrong spot.
Why?
It looks like it's in the support the show, or are you just doing an intro for it there below?
That's the music.
Oh, the music. Okay, we're good.
Oh, thanks. Here it goes.
Just checking.
And pledge your support. Well, it's that time of the week again.
We lost your audio again, Al.
Okay.
There, it's back.
Okay. Tell me whether this is spot on or a little quick. Well, it's that time of the week again.
Perfect.
It's time for Security Bits with... Okay. That is very interesting. I will have to report some logs. Can somebody write... I'm going to just write hi a bunch of times to get that to go up, because I got to stop that from blinking. I can't watch that. No more blinking GIFs. Okay, I got to see whether we're lined up. Bart Busschots, how are you today, Bart?
I am in good form. I am well exercised.
All right. Well, we're ready for some security bits. Let's kick right in.
Okie dokie. So last time we talked about the new technique.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. That worked. Let's hear how the ending works.
Okie dokie. Folks, remember.
Wait, did I talk over him? That's what we need. All right. Thanks,
we gotta
Bart.
be aware. Okie dokie.
Take out his. So I like what I said. That's what we need. All right. Thanks, Bart.
Okie dokie. Folks, remember, until next time, stay patched so you stay secure.
Oh, there's a great bit in there where he talks about patching Apache. But he says, patchy, patchy, patch, patch, Apache, patch your... Oh, and it was a patch to an Apache patch, too. I liked it. The whole thing was hilarious. All right. That's what we need. All right. Thanks, Bart.
Okie dokie. Folks.
Okay, there we go. That's good. And cut that off. And I've got a new ending. Well, partially new. I know. You'll like it. Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. Did you know that you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like? If you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over. I've left Facebook, at least for now, so Twitter is a good place to follow me online at Podfeed. Better yet, join our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack, where you can talk to me, but also all of the other lovely Nosilla castaways. A ton of new people have come over since the Facebook stuff going on. Now remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can support the show at podfeet.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation at podfeet.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. And I hope I will see you at podfeet.com/chat during the live event on Monday from Apple. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Ad-libbed and nailed it.
Wow. It didn't even have to do another take.
I know, right?
Good
Oh,
job.
it's a miracle.
So we hope we do see
Yeah.
you folks tomorrow, or see you
Yeah,
on
who's
Discord.
joining us tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why are these jumping up? Podcast. Ooh, look
You know,
at
and
that.
I didn't know that I could email you at any time at allison@podfeet.com.
Anytime you like.
If you would have said that before, I would have known.
We hear the ending here. Listening and stay subscribed. A little sooner. Stay subscribed.
That's
Little
pretty hot at the
little
end.
hot. Yeah. All right. All right. I think I am done. And
Wow.
we have 4 minutes
4
to
minutes
spare.
early.
I know.
You gonna let class
Been
out
late
early?
lately. I am. I'm going to let class out early. Goodbye, Lindsay, darling. And goodbye, Rose. Mwah. Goodbye, everybody. Be good. See you. Talk to you tomorrow, hopefully. As many of you as possible. Bye.
3.
Don't forget, give us a